What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another Western New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today, once again, it comes from the Mortalis Brewing Company, and they're out of Avon, New York. And this is their Hydra, the Blackberry Peach and Mango variant. So this is a fruited sour that is brewed with the aforementioned 3 fruits, comes in at 7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This crowler is just under 2 months old. So full disclosure, as you can see, I opened this off camera. Now, a couple weeks ago, when I did the sweet cherry, key lime, and raspberry variant, I told you guys why I opened them off camera, and that's because, these are basically meant to be kept cold, and they were cold in my fridge for the last, 7 weeks. But I noticed today, the day I'm filming, that both of the crowlers looked like they had some seepage here at the top, and what happened was I knew it was going to explode, so I opened both of them over the sink. This one actually exploded way more violently than the other one, and I've probably lost definitely a third of the beer, maybe closer to half. And yeah, very disappointing, but I knew it was going to happen. I could tell. So that's why I opened them off camera. And another reason is because when I pour crowlers on camera, I have a tendency to spill them. And when beers look like this, I don't want them to go all over my tablecloth. Anyway, whatever the case may be, I opened it off camera. I don't really ever do that. I prefer to open my beers on camera, but I didn't, and that's because I knew it was going to explode, and I didn't want a huge mess down here, so here we are. But I have not tried this. I have not even taken a sip. I did smell it, because obviously when you open it and it explodes everywhere, you smell it. So I've been just sitting here like the last one, looking at it for the last 10-15 minutes and being like, I want to drink this right now because it looks amazing, and I can't because I have to review it. I don't have to review it, but I'm choosing to review it. So anyway, the Hydra series, kind of like the 450 North Slushies. I mentioned this in the last review, but if you didn't watch that one, then I'll mention it again. Kind of like the Answers Popsicle and like 3 scoops. Fruited sours that have a lot of fruit puree in them. And this one has blackberry, peach, and mango. And as you can see, this looks like it has a lot of blackberry in it. It kind of looks very akin to the one I did 2 weeks ago. This one might be a little bit lighter, which, I mean, that was sweet cherry and raspberry. This is blackberry. I'd imagine the blackberry would be darker, but I think this one looks a little bit lighter, but could be. It's probably going to look the same on camera as the one I did a couple weeks ago. As you can see, all the pulp at the top, because that's how these go. The head itself is like this really nice pink color. Still a lot of carbonation. Like I said, a re-fermented. The carbonation is still there, but hopefully this is just as good as the last one. Last one was amazing, and this one, the fruits in the other one, the sweet cherry, key lime, and raspberry, I like more than blackberry, peach, and mango, but I love blackberry, so I don't know. We'll see. Let's get a nose. This smells awesome. Oh my Lord. So right up front, you're hit with a ton of, I'm hit with a ton of blackberry. But then right underneath that, I'm getting this peach, like closer to the core of a peach. Like if you've ever, ate the core of a peach or had it in your mouth, like kind of that sensation, but like still with a nice peach flavor. Really nice ripened mango too. Like I'm getting all the fruits in this one. The other one, I didn't get the key lime. I really just got the sweet cherry and raspberry. This one, all the fruits are playing their role. Oh man, that peach pit is really messing with my mind, because I can't believe I'm like smelling that in this beer. Smells like it's going to be slightly tart. The other one ended up having a nice tartness, but not overly tart. And I noticed with these Hydra series and like the 450 North Slushies, like the base is usually a Berliner Weiss, and I imagine they say fruited sour is probably just like a Berliner Weiss base. It's definitely a kettle sour, but more often than not, you don't really pick up a lot of tartness, maybe a slight tartness, and then a lot of the sweetness from the fruit puree. And this one, kind of similar. Yeah, it smells awesome. It smells like a fruit smoothie, but this one actually smells more fruit-centric as opposed to the actual fruit instead of a puree. This is like, like I said, I have the core or the pit of a peach, or like the mango, a really nice ripe mango, or just like a sweetened blackberry. It's really nice. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. As I was sipping this, I was just like closing my mouth and my teeth clenched. And I think I bit into maybe like part of a fruit. That's how pulpy these are. Holy shit, that was weird. And also delicious. So right up front, this is not as sweet as the other variant. It actually has a reserve sweetness. It's sweet, but not overly so. It actually has a firm tartness. So this is more tart and less sweet than the other one. Body is very similar to the last one. Higher side of medium, lower side of full. It has a nice thickness to it, like a fruit smoothie thickness. But it's appropriate for beers like this because that's what I mean, you look at them, you see the pulp, you see everything. Of course, it's going to, you'd imagine it's going to be thicker and a little bit syrupy, and it is. Mouth feels super soft and smooth and creamy, all that fruit. It just drinks like a fruit smoothie. But this one is very nuanced. I wouldn't say subtle, but nuanced. I'm getting everything. Right up front, a nice mixture of a sweet and tart blackberry. Pass through the palate, that peach pit and a little sweeter peach comes to the forefront. And then as it finishes, the mango sneaks in like a really nice, slightly over-ripened mango. It finishes slightly dry, not like semi-dry, but just slightly dry. Slight residual sweetness. And then there's this nice acidic overall character, probably from the base fruit beer itself. It's delicious. 7%, really can't tell there's alcohol in here at all. This one is not as flavorful as the one I did 2 weeks ago, but it's way more drinkable. The other one I finished up earlier, and it took me a while to put that down. I mean, it was, relatively easy to drink, but as I started finishing up my glass, because I split the crowler with pops, I got to the last couple of ounces, and I'm like, okay, now it's starting to get kind of sweet. So a crowler like this, taking it to the dome yourself, I think this is easier to do so than the last one. I could drink this entire crowler. Well, now I only have like 18 or 20 ounces or whatever. I could easily drink it, but I think this one's more drinkable than the last. But it's not as flavorful. That said, it's fucking awesome. I mean, the pulp and stuff, I mean, it looks beautiful and whatnot. A lot of people will say, is that even beer? And I don't even know anymore. I mean, yes, it is beer. Technically, it is beer. But at this point, you could give this to a non-beer drinker if they like blackberries or peach or mango. Yeah, they're probably going to enjoy this one. Have no idea it's a 7% fruited sour. But anyway, rating on the Hydra Blackberry Peach Mango variant. High 4.5 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.55 out of 5. I believe I gave the last one a 4.8 out of 5. It's better by a quarter point. And that's because that one had more bold, intense flavors. This one I give the edge drinkability wise, but I do like the other flavors in that one a little bit more. Still, that said, this is an amazing beer. It just is. Their Hydra series is fantastic, and everyone I've had within the series has been pretty damn delicious. Honestly, I've had like maybe 1 or 2 Mortalis beers that weren't really good. They were just like solid or good. Most of them are just awesome. For me, I really like their fruited sours and their pastry stouts and stuff. Their hop forward stuff I do enjoy, but I think for me it's the weakest link in their armor, or chink in their armor, or whatever you want to say, right? At the end of the day, this is really, really good, and yeah, it's just a damn tasty beer. There's not much more to say about it. If you can get this, so we'll go to value and availability. A value on this one is $20, I believe, for the growler I paid. It's expensive. I mean, you cut that in half, that's $10 for a 16-ounce can. But for something like this, with all the fruit puree they're using and just the quality, yeah, I would pay that occasionally. I said this in my last review, but go to the brewery. If you're within a couple hours of Avon, New York, which is just south of Rochester, go to the brewery if you haven't been there. Just drink stuff on tap. You can get flights, you can get pours, and they usually have everything available on tap, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a nice little place, cool vibe, awesome atmosphere. So it's just, yeah, it's a good time. I prefer drinking at the brewery as opposed to getting these crawlers, which brings me to the availability. Their stuff's pretty much brewery only. Some of their kegs and stuff will make it around Western New York. Some have actually shown up here in Buffalo. For the most part, though, you got to go to the brewery, especially if you want anything that's canned, aka crawlered. Or they do bottle releases. They've done like 16-ounce cans, but you got to go to the brewery, and you usually have to wait in line. I waited in line about 40 minutes for 3 crawlers, which some people will be like, that's crazy, and other people will be like, yeah, I'll do that all day. For me, I like doing it once in a while, but again, my preference is to drink on location at their brewery because I think it's awesome. But anyway, yeah, if you've had this one before, let me know what you think about. If you've had any of the Hydras or any beers from Mortalis, I'd like to hear your feedback on the brewery, because everybody that I've ever talked to that has went to Mortalis has absolutely loved it. Actually, take that back. One person wasn't a huge fan, but they're like more of a classic beer style enthusiast. They're not all about the hazies and the fruited sours and the pastry styles and stuff. So if that's not your jam and you like classic styles, Mortalis isn't for you. But if you're, if you're somebody who likes to follow the trend or is into the styles over the last couple of years and you haven't tried Mortalis, then yeah, you owe it to yourself to check them out at some point. So anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another Western New York Wednesday. Check back next week for another installment. And until then, cheers.